motivation and preparation led to a new sensation, new creation. That's what you're facing. Now watch my elevation.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is who is the A side between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. There's been some debates online about this, but before we do that, we're going to take a little peek into their press conference and exchange that they had. Let's take a listen. All right, and this video appears courtesy of Top Rank Boxing. All right, Bob, give us a pass, Bob.
The reality is, she doesn't beat me. She didn't before, and she won again. And that's what it is, and it kills her. Look. It absolutely burns inside.
What burns inside?
The fact that I beat you, and I'll beat you again.
It burns inside of you that I got 2 Olympic gold medals and you have 0. That's why you kept begging for the fight. That's why I can beat her. What else have you done to sell yourself? What else have you done in your career besides brag about beating me 10 years ago?
I've knocked out people you went 10 rounds with.
No one you fought was elite.
You are?
No one you fought was elite. They were good.
We boxed the same people.
Hannah Rankin was your best opponent. Who else was your best opponent? Name them.
I'm not saying that. We've boxed the same people. They didn't go the distance from me, but they
you
skipped
fought
out the ring with you.
Okay, 3 years after I fought against her.
They skipped out the ring with you. Yeah, and you haven't improved.
Who haven't improved?
You haven't improved since FemCare.
Please stop. You declined 2012. That's why you never won nothing else after.
And aren't you glad I did?
No world championship.
All this
no Olympic gold medal.
Years ago.
1 belt.
All this gold rubbish would have been over in 2018.
I got 5 belts over there. You got 1.
They'll soon be over here.
So that was a little bit of their exchange, and so we're gonna ask who's the A side. Actually, I mean, I got a little something that I wanted to show, so I'll do this before. I think if you guys don't mind, because in that exchange, I wanted to. Huh?
I think answering the question, I think everybody should know the answer to this question.
But yeah, so just real quick, I wanted to do some fact checking because I thought it was interesting. And doing some fact checking, I saw some crazy things. So you saw how basically she said that Savannah Marshall said Claressa Shields didn't improve. And Claressa Shields said you declined since 2012. And you haven't won anything since. And so I was like, okay, well, let me take a look at her. And are you seeing this ad?
No.
You didn't see your screen yet.
Oh, you don't see my screen? Oh,
no,
my bad. I don't know why. I thought I was showing it to you. All right. Here we go. Yeah, so here we go. This is Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall's box rec. Are you seeing this ad here?
Yeah.
My screen, it's like blocking everything. It's so annoying. All right, well, anyways, we're going to go to 2012. And if you see here, this ad is messing things up. 2012 is when she beat Claressa Shields. Now, Claressa Shields had only had 14 amateur fights, and she beat her in the AIBA Women's World Championship preliminaries, and it was 14-8 was the score. That's when she beat Claressa Shields. Now, since then, if you look, she didn't really win anything else. And there's this one woman, right here. I don't even know how to say her name, like Fontjin. She continuously beats Savannah Marshall over and over and over again. Like if you go through her, like there goes another loss to her, right? There goes another L to her. And there goes another L to her.
Damn, she got
right? There goes another L to her.
That's crazy.
There goes another L before she turned professional. So this woman just continuously just dominates Savannah Marshall, beats her. So, but you go to Claressa Shields, who she beat in 2012, right? Now, when you go to Claressa Shields amateur, and this is because they keep arguing amateurs. Oh, and by the way, Savannah Marshall had no knockouts in amateurs. When you go to the amateurs and you look at Claressa Shields now, remember that Savannah Marshall was her 14th fight. So here's her 14th fight where she loses to Savannah Marshall, and she never loses again. And the people she beat, there's Franchon Cruz, but she also beats the woman who continuously beat Savannah Marshall. And she beats her for Olympic gold. Here it is right here. She beats her. She beats her twice, actually. So she beats her in the ABA, the AIBA Women's World Championship final in 2016. Where was Savannah Marshall then? And then in 2016 in Rio, she beats her for the Olympic gold. And Savannah Marshall could never beat her. Well, Savannah Marshall beat her the first time they fought. And then after that, she just continuously beat Savannah Marshall. So when you're talking about that Claressa Shields didn't improve, I think like that's disingenuous because it states otherwise. But anyways, so I just want to look at that record. So Savannah Marshall is kind of getting a lot of credit for beating Shields in her 15th amateur fight. But Trodar Bell, who do you think's the ace?
Claressa Shields.
But it's in England and it's at the O2 Arena. And if
Claressa Shields, she still accomplished more. She still accomplished more, you know. She's still the A side. She still accomplished more in this sport of women boxing. Even in the amateurs, she still accomplished more. So you gotta give it to her. That's a no-brainer. That's a duh moment. You know what I'm saying? You know, and she's coming with more hardware. So yeah, it's definitely Claressa Shields, hands down.
All right. Conspiracy G.
Yeah, I remember on Twitter I was talking to some people about this. That Claressa Shields is the A side, right? And in that press conference, I remember Savannah Marshall was saying like, "Oh, Claressa, well, you don't sell out arenas, this that, and the third, yada yada yada." You know, like she was essentially saying, "I'm the one who packed out this house." I'm like, no. People are coming to see you beat Claressa, but if you wasn't fighting Claressa, you not packing out that house. So to me, she is the A side because it's just like the Floyd Mayweather effect. You know, all of these Mexican fighters that swore up and down they're gonna beat Floyd Mayweather, and you see all of these Mexicans in the crowd. You really think all of these dudes are rooting for Floyd, or are they rooting for Floyd's opposition? They rooting for Floyd's ops, hoping that Floyd finally loses. But even within that, he's still the A side. Same thing applies to Claressa. Same thing applies if Wilder goes to the UK to fight Chisora. Wilder will be the A side. Claressa will be the A side. They're more known. They have notoriety, and where they go, fans will come, even in the home team. That's just like if LeBron comes to play the Celtics in Boston. People coming to see LeBron in Boston. You know, like, yeah, you could be like, oh, well, we want him to lose, but you're still paying to see him. So, essentially, my argument is Claressa Shields is the A side because she's bringing in the people to come see this fight, even if they're coming in to wish her a loss to Savannah.
A few things, just like the fact that this is even a topic of debate is laughable. Savannah Marshall has one belt. Savannah Marshall has 0 gold medals. Savannah Marshall has never been, and this is America. We had several people from other countries be on like a box of Wheaties. Savannah Marshall's never been on a box of Wheaties. I think the disrespect for Claressa needs to cease. And at first, like, I'm like, whatever, Claressa does talk a lot of trash, but I was always told there's a difference when you talk trash and you back it up. Mm-hmm. So, like, you can say Floyd Mayweather talked a lot of trash, but the one thing was he always backed it up. There are guys who try to duplicate that, but they don't always back it up. So then they get what they get. But to this point, you need to respect Claressa Shields because she's backed it up every single time. before the O2 Arena was the locale for the fight, I kept hearing, oh, she's scared. She's going to back out. She doesn't want to be in the fight. Well, that wasn't true. And she's there. And not only did she want to fight, she's doing the fight in England.
Mm-hmm.
And just because the fight's in England doesn't mean she's the A side. And you will notice, if you know about women's basketball, right now there's a women's basketball player being held in Russia, Brittany Griner. And the reason why she was in Russia is because women's basketball players have to play overseas to make more money, because women's sports are more respected overseas than they are in America. You know, with the exception of tennis. You know, these other sports don't get the same type of respect of a women's sports. So the women basketball players, who are the best in America, and I'm going to say they're the best around the world because they win. There's actually a global competition where we can find out who has the best basketball players in the world, and America does. They still have to go overseas to make the money. But everyone knows that they're the best players. This is the same type of scenario. Claressa Shields is the best boxer. We don't need to figure it out, because I just showed you a woman who whooped Savannah Marshall regularly, and when she fought Shields, she lost. Savannah Marshall's victory over Claressa Shields happened in 2012. 2012. I didn't even look this up. I don't know how old Claressa was in 2012. Right? Well, actually, I can't figure it out. So 2012, what's that, 12 years ago?
What year is this? 22?
Yeah.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay, so she was 17. She was 17. Savannah Marshall was 21. That's when she was 17, Savannah Marshall was 21, and she beat Claressa Shields. Y'all are all happy. She wasn't even old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes.
Beat up on the youngin.
Right? And then once Claressa Shields, once Claressa Shields got old enough, and she took off, her career took off, and Savannah Marshall's did not. She got 14 L's, like 10 of them to the same girl who just kept, from the Netherlands, who kept dominating her. And then when they turned pro, Claressa Shields beat this woman in 2018. Savannah Marshall stops her in 2021, and everyone's like jumping up and down, like, oh, she stopped her. Claressa couldn't. Claressa fought her at a different time. Claressa fought her when she was a younger woman, because Claressa was a younger woman. The fighter was a younger woman. It's not the same person who Claressa is now. Like, I think realistically, I think Savannah Marshall is a good fighter. I think Savannah Marshall has a chance of beating Claressa Shields. I do believe that. But I think you're underestimating Claressa Shields' chance of beating Savannah Marshall, which I think is not only probable, it's like most likely what will happen when they fight. And I think you guys are like being, go ahead, bro.
You know what it was? I think it's not that people overlook Claressa Shields. I think it was so much of the rubbing the people the wrong way with certain actions that took place, with the activities that happened when she was watching the amateur boxing match, outside things that outside of boxing had made people feel a certain way for Claressa, that they're overlooking her skills because of the other antics. You know what I'm saying? Because you are 100% spot on, my brother. And I think the only pushback is how she had left a bad taste in people's mouths. That could be the only reason why that they will overlook a fighter such as Claressa Shields. Because if anything, it would show that she would be the heavy favorite in this fight. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be her to make a mistake and for Savannah Marshall to catch her. You know what I'm saying? So you're absolutely right. I was just thinking it's probably actions that cause people to feel the way they feel about Claressa Shields, because she keeps getting better every time you see her out.
Now, I agree with you, and I'm one of those people who were turned off by her actions. And it actually, if Clarissa Shields didn't correct herself every time she made a mistake, I would still hold her accountable for those actions. But I feel like as she's gotten older and she's learned when they
Yeah,
say,
definitely.
Shields, you can't do this, you can't do that. Now she comes from a place where she's rough around the edges.
Mhm.
And like, if you understand Flint, Michigan,
Your Flint ain't sweet.
yeah,
Detroit.
everything they go through in Flint, Michigan, then you know. So what I give her credit for though, and you know this, I always say this: if I ask you to do something, or if I put something out and you do it, then that's it. I'm gonna let it ride. What the situation happened with her brother, we never heard about it that happened anymore. When she would go off and do certain things and act a certain way in public, we no longer see that anymore. And I get it, like she probably does rub a lot of people the wrong way, and that's cool. But that doesn't mean that you get to say like, oh, Savannah Marshall's the A side. See, that's when you're being ridiculous. Like, how can someone who has one belt? I don't even think Savannah Marshall has headlined a card. Maybe she has. But if she has, how many cards has she's headlined compared to Claressa Shields? Claressa Shields, two-time Olympic gold medalist, undisputed in multiple weight classes. Like when they held their belts up, Claressa Shields is holding up multiple belts, and then it's cute that Savannah Marshall was there with her one belt. Savannah Marshall peaked in the amateurs in 2012, which actually is the truth. When they were trading bobs, one person was saying something that was the truth, the other person was fabricating. One person said, you peaked in 2012, which is true. You peaked when you beat Claressa in her 15th amateur fight, her only loss. And after that, she went on to whoop everybody, including the girl you couldn't whoop, for Olympic gold. So if L's in the amateurs matter so much, we need to get that woman from the Netherlands that used to whoop Savannah Marshall all the time and make Savannah fight her to prove that she's good, right? In the end, what usually happens? Dillian White beat Anthony Joshua in the amateurs. When they fought in the pros, who won? There was a guy who beat Felix Trinidad in the amateurs. He fought him. Felix Trinidad dusted him. Like, typically, the better pro wins. There's no way in hell you can tell me that Savannah Marshall's the better pro. Claressa Shields beating Franchon Cruz DAZN. And I know y'all may think that Savannah Marshall could beat Franchon Cruz DAZN.
For the man.
Yeah, I say prove it. I say prove it. Let's see. I would love to see Savannah Marshall fight Franchon Cruz DAZN, because I tell you what, she ain't gonna run from her. And she beat Christina Hammer. And Christina Hammer was considered so great and slick boxer at that time, and she beat her. If you want to be real, when you talk about class, Claressa Shields was the better amateur, and she's the better pro. If this were the guys we were talking about, I know me personally, I would say this is going to be a wash. That's what I would be saying right now. I'm giving Savannah Marshall this much. She has been knocking out the opponents she's been facing, although all the opponents she's been facing haven't been high caliber. So I'm giving her a puncher's chance. But even then, don't be surprised if Claressa Shields dog walks her. The A side, Claressa Shields.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.